Hey Dom, this is Dave Desai. Today I want to talk about Jungkook having a lot of backlash over the recent J-Park photo and people thinking that he quit social media over this. And then also mentioning his possible 2 sons on a live. And JHope revealed something that shook him. So hater or not, make sure you subscribe with the notification bell on. Review the T-Spilling Mug merch and let's get into it. The first thing that we need to talk about is something that was a cute story that JHope revealed about a specific member. I am talking about Jin. Apparently JHope had a bit of a drinking moment with Jin recently to celebrate, and JHope was super candid about something that happened. Apparently Jin is an expert drinker and can handle his alcohol. Jin apparently really quickly just chugged his glass of champagne, which is total props to him and kind of hot. Like when you see a guy who can chug a beer or something, that's kind of spicy. So JHope was live and eating a meal with us, which we love. It's always so much fun when the members get really candid, and I think they forget that they're celebrities or K-pop idols and they just spill the most tea about the other members. We've gotten tea like more serious ones like mental health, but then also get playful ones like them being shirtless all the time or those sorts of things. But going back to JHope exposing Jin, this was in the US and they went ahead and went drinking. JHope noticed that Jin chugged down the alcohol so quickly and was just so fast with it. This was kind of shocking, and I guess when you're shocked, you typically just kind of stare. And Jin was apparently like, "You're just gonna stare," and then told JHope to drink. This is so funny to me because we tend to think that K-pop idols don't get to do too much, and in situations that are normally quite normal for the rest of us, seem to be quite interesting when we see idols do them. We don't think that these labels allow K-pop idols to drink or do any sorts of these things. So when we see that Jin can handle his alcohol really well and take big sips of it, it comes across as a little shocking. We also tend to think of K-pop idols as kind of like a blank sheet of paper, where they don't do anything and they're just so innocent. I'm not sure where this idea comes from, because if you see a K-pop idol kind of not wanting to drink or kind of pushing away the alcohol or simply taking small sips and being like, "Yuck," we tend to think, or the fandom think, that this is normal and expected. But when we see, for example, a K-pop star acting like a frat boy, this is unrelated to Jin, but when we see that, it's quite shocking to us. Whereas when we see American celebrities act like a frat boy, it's expected. In fact, if they turn away from alcohol, they almost lose a lot of respect from the American audience. This is so weird. This is also why I think the fandom is so protective, because they see the idols as so innocent, and if someone drinks a lot or parties a lot, they don't want the idol associated with that, because they don't want the idol to party or adopt that personality, as if we as humans just adapt every personality from every person we meet. I really feel like it's so interesting that when people make comments, they don't think it through entirely. Recently with the backlash of the whole J-Park and Jungkook incident, it was quite surprising how everything was taken so weirdly. I can see why people were upset, but let's take everything for every situation that it is. J-Park is known to be more controversial, but him taking a picture with Jungkook is not one. J-Park has never publicly said he hates BTS, and the tweets claiming that he said he hates BTS don't actually say that he hates BTS. People were upset at J-Park for even associating with Jungkook because they feel like Jungkook is this blank sheet of paper and that J-Park's controversy will rub off on Jungkook, and that is just ridiculous for several reasons. First off, the obvious one, Jungkook is his own person and he has his own personality. He is likely very sure of himself and very confident in who he is. You do not get to that level of fame without being very sure of who you are. And I mean, celebrities at that level are so self-aware of who they are because they have to be. Because reading made-up stories and rumors about yourself will twist your sense of self if you are not confident in yourself. So Jungkook is not going to change himself because he meets someone that is controversial. That's first. Second of all, let's play devil's advocate and say that Jungkook was held hostage, as the hashtags claim, and let's say, for example, Jungkook hates J-Park. This is hypothetical. So if you've ever been to school or worked at an office, you would eventually come across someone you don't really like, but you play nice. This is something like anyone can do, and everyone does. You pretend because you're in the same class or office, and just because you're around them doesn't mean you're going to turn into them. So these people who think that Jungkook is going to be J-Park because of a photo or studio session they had together is a weird mindset. It's almost as if these people really just don't think of K-pop idols as humans. When you see tweets like super babying the idols, they don't consider these idols as humans or as adults, really. Respect them, treat them like human beings, and don't downplay the idol's ability to do very normal things like play nice. Jungkook had a bit of an absence after that backlash, sort of. The backlash wasn't even entirely directed towards Jungkook, but most of the backlash was towards J-Park. But Jungkook definitely got some people asking him to not work with J-Park, and I wouldn't be surprised if there were some people saying that they would unstand Jungkook if there was a collab. The issue got so big that it was acknowledged by Jay Park himself, and this could mean that Jungkook saw it as well. So Jungkook kind of took a small step back, either on purpose because he knew, or accidentally just because he had a lot to do and just wasn't active. But recently he came back on social media to do a live Q&A session, and ARMYs were happy that the alleged backlash didn't affect him. Some ARMYs were scared that the backlash may have just caused him to quit or leave IG. I mean, once the photos were posted, the backlash was just huge. So not wanting to read these negative comments, not wanting to see any negative response, he may just have shut down and not opened IG. It was also just bad timing because I assumed Jungkook was just busy, but who knows what actually happened. But do you think Jungkook saw the backlash and just rage quit IG, or do you think he was just on a social media break and dealing with his real life? Jungkook also shared some more interesting things during his live Q&A session, which ended up being a big deal online. People were definitely freaking out and excited for. Someone asked Jungkook what his child's name would be, and this was shocking because he really thought about this, like he had a name. He answered that he would want their last names to be Jian, obviously, and one of them to be Seal, which means legend, and the other to be Yul, which means goosebumps. It seems like he either came up with this on the spot, or he actually has thought about this in the past. I assume these names were more masculine, means he could be revealing he wants 2 sons, others think it could mean 2 daughters, but if you are Korean, let me know if these are typically male or female names or non-binary names. People were definitely shocked that he mentioned his child's name. This could mean that he sat there and thought about wanting kids, and maybe in the near future. I think we all have thought about our kids' names. I personally wish there was a system where the kids could choose their own name. I think names are so important and they resonate with the kids their whole life. And the name often represents your role in life or what you're expected to do. And while Jungkook's kids will likely do whatever they want growing up, and Jungkook will likely support them, having a name meaning legend, and given that the father is an actual legend, it kind of puts a lot of pressure on them to do really well in life, right? And not saying they won't, but the kid will have something a lot of people don't have, which is the freedom to choose if they even want to do anything with their life. The ability to just be like, I took all the money from my father, I'm just going to chill and live off of that. And he or she would be able to do that. But having the pressure to either live up to their father's name or live up to their own name is going to be interesting to see what happens. I would personally name myself Marry to BTS. It seems much more fitting and more fitting to my life goals. Maybe Marry Me Yoongi if Marry to BTS is already taken, because my name has to be original. But people also believe that Jungkook mentioning his kids and their awesome names is a loving message from him from the past. So when Jungkook gets older and has his kids, he can show them this and they can hear what their names would have been if Jungkook didn't choose to name their kids that, or they could see the moment it was announced publicly and this was a moment their names were manifested. I mean, how many people get to see a moment where their parents literally thought of their kids' names? Anyway, so what do you think? Was this a nice, loving message from the past to Jungkook's future kids, or is it not something like that? Did he possibly spoil that he wants 2 sons or 2 daughters, or maybe a mix? And I guess the thing I am most curious about is, do you like the name? It's something you would name your kids after. Let me know what you think. Make sure you check out my Patreon for more videos, link below. Thank you, says a lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.